It's been a week where we've had a lot of honest talking. You know, I made no secret of it. You know, we were on Sunday morning and we had some in-depth conversation. And you know, I think the players need to understand the disappointment that the fans had coming from the game. You know, they were let down. But equally, we've got to turn it around. We've got to reverse that now. We've talked a lot of positives. We've watched the real positives regarding the Salford game. We've watched some footage of that. We've got to get back to that performance, that mentality, and that desire to maintain that standard.
What have you seen during the week that shows you, that tells you that that message has got through to the players?
Well, we've spent a lot of time on the training ground, you know, working on disciplined performances and the mentality of how to maintain that that doesn't happen again. And I think that can't happen again. That should never happen in any club. But you know, the boys have been great. The reaction's been fantastic. But we've got to back that up now this Saturday.
You won lots of admirers. Lots of people who got in touch with us were really pleased that you came out and were so forceful after the game last week.
I think the word I was heard. You know, and you know, that's what we're not about. You know, I've just talked to you guys about leadership, winners. That's what we need. That's what's got to come through. We've got 11 cup finals. And we've got to make sure in every game we have that desire, the hunger, and maintain the standards. You know, the biggest disappointment was you've gone from doing that to not doing that, and we've got to get back to maintaining that. And you know, we've got to give the fans something to shout about. You know, because we did that in our last home game. We've got to back that up again.
I don't want to go into too much into what happened with Adriano at the beginning of the week as well, but all these off-field distractions, they're not going to help anyone, are they?
You could do without it. You could certainly do without it. It was dealt with straight away. You know, when I got to know on Sunday, you know, I wasn't happy, and I dealt with it on Monday. And financially, he's been very heavily punished. You know, I won't accept that from no players, and he knows that. And he's got to come out now and show some great performances. That's the only way you can do it as a player. You can apologise, but you know, fans will only have that for so long. You've got to back it up on the pitch, and he's got to make sure he does that. Will
he get the opportunity though? Will all those players who played last week get the opportunity to try and put it right this Saturday, or are you going to have to make changes? Is that the only way you really get through to your players, by dropping a couple?
You don't become a bad team overnight. You know, it was a horrendous weekend from John getting sent off to the performance. You don't become a bad team because the week before was your best. So you've got to put some trust in players. Keep players on the toes, because you know you wouldn't. I'll never accept that again. They know that. But equally, as I said to you, you know, within the last 8 or 9 games, we've had some real strong performances, and we've had one very poor performance. So as I said to you, we're not a bad team overnight. We've got to get back to being a very strong, disciplined team. I sends off. You know, we can't afford to miss a John Parkin for 3 games. Who could? But we are where we are, and the players who's got the chance now has got to take the chance.
Let's talk about the team then. You said John Parkin's missing for 3 games. In a way, do you have to try and look at the positives, and that's now maybe going to give you a chance to try something new, to maybe play a slightly different way to what you've been able to with John Parkin in the team?
Well, I think, you know, everyone will be aware that as John's goals have been great, you know, you're not going to get great energy. So you know, there's a balance, isn't there? You know, without his goals, we wouldn't be where we were. So, you know, there's going to be hopefully a plus comes out of it as the lights might come back on. But yeah, there will be a plus that comes out of it, and the plus is that the person that's got the opportunity has got to take the opportunity and stay in the team and give us something of a real outstanding performance.
Alex Patterson, how is he after coming off so early last week?
Yeah, he's good. He's good. He was back in training, you know, sort of Tuesday, Wednesday, so he's available for selection. So
let's talk about your selection then. Kempster impressed, didn't he, when he came on? Is he going to get an opportunity to start this week?
Yeah, he's in the squad. You know, I think that was the light, the shine light that came out the day. I think not only his goal, his header, I think his performance. He's been a breath of fresh air since he's come in the club. I love his mentality of that kid that's come from nowhere, that wants to stay in this building and be a professional footballer. And it's really refreshing that you have that, because I think, you know, that creates energy, that creates real positivity around the club, and that's what we've got to be about.
Where do you see him playing? Where's his best position? Does he want to play up front, or does he want to be towards the left-hand side of midfield, maybe?
He's a very tackle-minded player. I think that's what he is. I think, you know, you can play him anywhere across the front, but you know, he's got goals in his games. He's got he offers something different, and you know, we're looking forward to working with him.
Connor Brown, there's been some confusion from us, maybe from you as well, about where he's with the yellow cards, if they count, if they don't count. Can you fill us in?
Yeah, I think we've clarified that, haven't we now? I think it's all been clarified that, you know, he's, I think officially he's on 15. The 15 don't count, so I think he's on 3 or 4. 4 in our league as such.
4. So
I think there's, you know, there's been a bit of confusion to nobody's fault. I think it'll be, you know, but the good thing is that he's on 4, not 15, so he's available.
Alfreton, I presume you went to watch them at Harrogate the other night. They were 4-0 down in double quick time, weren't they? They could have quite easily folded, but they didn't. They fought back, and in the end were really unlucky, only a world-class save from Belshaw, to not get a draw. They're going to come here full of beans, and you know you've got to keep your foot on the pedal if you do manage to get in front this weekend. Well,
against the top 2 teams, they've had a 3-2 and a 4-3, and again, one thing I talked to the players about, Alfreton's desire to continue to go. I know it was a 90th minute against Salford on Saturday, but they kept in the game. 4-0 down, they could have just folded. They didn't. They showed a real great desire, a bit of a Curzon mentality, and I said to the players, you know, if you don't perform to what your level is, you'll get bitten in the backside this weekend. Don't underestimate non-league football. There's no difference. You've got to show respect, and you've got to make sure that you go out there and you give as much as that is going to give. And if you do, hopefully your quality comes through. But you know, last week was a lesson. You know, Alfreton will be a tougher game than Curzon.
And look at the stats as well. I think they're the 6th highest goal scorers in the whole division. I know they're at the wrong end of the table, but we know they score goals.
Yeah, listen, we went across there, you know, in my early days, and it wasn't an easy game. You know, we 2-1, and it was a bit of a scrappy game on the day. It wasn't a real good footballing game, but it was a game where they showed real grit and desire. And you know, it's a massive game. It's a massive game for both clubs. You know, I know there's a few your colleagues coming back, as in
one who still works at the club.
Yeah, you know, as players, next employers. So you know, we've got to make sure that, you know, they're going to come back and they'll want to, you know, put one over on us, and we've got to make sure that we do our job right.
They've got a very young, inexperienced goalkeeper when they're making his first team debut, 19-year-old on Tuesday night. I thought looked a little bit wobbly towards the start of the game and improved. Do you have to maybe put some pressure on him and make sure there's lots of shots going in on target?
Yeah, I noticed Chris Elliott didn't play Tuesday night, who's, you know, their regular number 1. I don't know if he got injured or whatever it may be. Broken nose. So again, you know, the young lad came in, I know he spilled one, you know, for the second goal, and probably that sort of killed the game off for them. But having said that, I thought he grew in confidence as the game got on, so he didn't fold. You know, he kept hard. He made some big saves as the game went on as well. So as much as he was young, you know, he wasn't a young lad that shouldn't have been in goal either.
And we talk about the crowd again. Obviously, the crowd got on the players' backs last week. Some would say, understandably, from the performance at Curzon. A decent performance would help to get them back on your side. It's vital for this running. Everyone's got to be together. We've
got 11 cup finals, and you know, that's the way it is. And we've got to give the crowd something to really shout about. You know, they were fantastic against Salford. Why were they fantastic, the crowd? Because we put in a really good performance, and we've got to back that up. We know we've got to make sure we got this weekend and give the crowd every little bit of you have in your tank. And if you do that, fans will always accept 100%. And you know, we've got to make sure that we maintain that hunger, desire, determination every game now for the crowd.
Just ask you a quick couple of questions about the reserve game on Tuesday afternoon. Vinny Steele's, what a player he looks as though he could be.
Yeah, 16-year-old. You know, he's. I think people forget that he's a real young one, and I've had him since he's 9-year-old. You know, I've worked all the way through it and put him into Sunderland and other clubs, and you know, he made a big decision to come here rather than go to the Premier League club because of the relationship that we have. I think he's got a fantastic future. I think he'll be a real top player. Got a lot of work to do. He needs to improve certain aspects of his game, but at a 16-year-old, some of the stuff you see him doing, you know, for me, he's the old-fashioned type of winger that the game lacks, and you know, he's one for the future.
Did anyone press their claims from that reserve game? Do you think could maybe step up into your team this weekend?
Yeah, I thought there were some good performances. You know, I wanted Louis to score the penalty. You know, he needed the goal. He's looked like he's getting back to being fitter, more energetic than what he did 2 weeks ago. So, you know, he's put himself in the frame. So yeah, you know, I've been pleased with the reserves these last 2 games, and that's what games are for. If you're not playing the first team, you're playing the reserves. You know, you've got to get your minutes, you've got to be ready, so when you are called up, you know, you give yourself your best chance.
Perfect, brilliant, thank you.
Thanks, chaps.